taken over. Let's go. It's Ferrall. Coast to coast. Steaks, chicks, stacks. You and I are going to make a lot of money. It's Ferrall, coast to coast. All right, so Carver High. Now it's time to talk about Brock Montana.
It is time to now talk about Brock Montana, Scotty. And I did just want to check. The Niners are practicing now. So 4 o'clock East, 1 o'clock West is when they are getting on the practice field. That is when we'll find, I guess, a little bit more out when it comes to Deebo Samuel, who we were just mentioning. But yes, Brock Montana has been a discussion all week long out in the Bay because of his performance against the Packers last week. Let's start with Brock. He wants to wash away all those mistakes from last week.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, for me, it's, you're real with yourself. You understand where you're at as a quarterback, how you played. And it doesn't matter if you play good or bad. Like, you can't, I don't think, take really any of that with you the next week. It's a new game. It's a new scheme. It's a new environment. Everything about it is new. So it's almost like you got to clean the slate. Learn from the mistakes, build off of, the good things that you've done, but it's going to be it's a new game. So that's the mental battle that I feel like all the NFL quarterbacks go through, and I think that's where the great ones really, separate themselves from the others. So, that's how I look at it.
Okay, well, he's not one of the great ones. Let's start with that. Second of all, they've already made him a great one, and he's not. And also, here's another thought for you. I'll give him this much. It's a new game. Congratulations. We've all figured that out, but it's a bigger game. It's ratcheted up from a divisional semi to a title game. And the only thing you got going for you, kid, is that you're playing at home, because it's hard for teams to win there. There's no question about that. But do you remember when he started the game against Green Bay? I said this earlier, the pass that Savage dropped, it was embarrassing. Like, that was such a horrible pass. And then they blame it on the rain. Then they blame it on the glove. Yep. They never blame it on that he's average. It's never, this kid is like, it's like he's baby Jesus. He's never guilty of anything. They never talk about, man, he's throwing crappy passes. And so I'm telling you, if he plays even remotely like he did against Green Bay, they're going to lose. Okay? Because Goff doesn't play like him. Honestly, like, don't even argue with me. I don't even want to hear it. He has been, it's so funny. I think he's gone, and they win all the time, so no one notices. They just give him praise and praise. All they talk about is how great he is, and I'm not buying it. Here's him this year. I think he's just kind of steadily slow. He's gone down the bunny hill at the ski resort. He's like the guy on the bunny hill with the rope. They only go up on a rope on the bunny hill. Everybody else is on the chairlift or the gondola. Your boy Purdy's like on the bunny hill, and he's just been going down like this. I don't care what anybody says. He's been making mistakes left and right, overthrowing guys, underthrowing guys, throwing behind guys, throwing picks that should have been pick six hizzied. And I just don't know if he can live up to the big moment. I'll tell you this much. I already saw him against Lamar in a big moment, and he got torched. So if they go, they're losing either way. Mahomes won't lose to him. Neither will Lamar.
Look, I'm with you on that. If he plays like he did last Saturday night, they're losing. He's not going to get away with that kind of a performance twice in a row. Now, I thought Shanahan was smart last week. I think he realized that he was playing awful, and he leaned a lot more on McCaffrey in the second half.
Great, Mike. He's the guy that blew the 28-3 lead in the Super Bowl. He's such a genius. Honestly, this guy's another one that never gets any heat. He blew the Super Bowl.
Never gets heat. He has three. He has 3 bad losses on his resume that nobody likes to talk about. That 28-3 game where he was the offensive coordinator, Chiefs-Niners Super Bowl. He had a 2-score lead going into the fourth quarter. They lost to Mahomes and the Chiefs.
Should have won and didn't.
And NFC title game against the Rams that year. 2-score lead going to the fourth quarter.
Should have won and didn't.
That was the Jakirsky Tart dropping the pick for the Niners in that championship game.
Tart. What's he doing now? Selling ice cream.
That's 3 bad ones. And I know he's a genius. But he's got 3 really bad losses in either the playoffs or a title game in his career as a coach. So he's got to get through that, Scott. He's got to win one at some point. If he's the genius, and I think he's very good, he's the genius, though, that everyone makes him out to be, win a Super Bowl finally. Finally go and win one. You got to win one at some point. Or else you're not a genius. You see, McVay was a genius. Everybody called McVay a genius. Guess what? He went and won one.
He
got one. He is genius now. He won a Super Bowl before he's 40 years old. So Shanahan's got to go win one at some point. Here he is, Scotty, because, of course, he's even tired of talking about Brock Montana. Here's Kyle Shanahan.
Something I talk to every quarterback out every single day I've ever coached. So it's crazy how many questions we're getting about every one of Brock's decisions, but I'm starting to realize it because I get previewed before all this. And sometimes when quarterbacks make bad decisions, forcing it deep, they should check it down. Sometimes when they check it down and a guy hits the guy right away, they're like, damn, I had that over the top. Brock's as good as any quarterback I've had at making those decisions. Does not mean he's perfect. Try to find me that guy.
Well, we could spend a couple hours talking about that guy with a bunch of guys in the Hall of Fame if you really want to really spend the time. But his quarterback isn't that. I'm sorry. I think he's really talented, and that's as far as I'll go. He's a talented kid, but since the day he got that job, they've christened him Joe Montana. That's why I call him Brock Montana. It's unbelievable. He can't hold Joe Montana's onions. Honestly, he can't even hold Joe Montana's Guinness beer in a commercial.
He can't.
Honestly, stop.
And the coach gets treated like Bill Walsh. Okay, and the coach hasn't won, and he needs to go and win. And because you're right, he gets no heat, no gas. I mean, he gets nothing. Nothing gets thrown his way ever. He loses at home to the Lions on Sunday. Team that never wins in spots like this. I want to start hearing it. Can we start hearing gas?
He'll never live it down. But he never lived it down in Atlanta with the Falcons. Right. They hate him there. And look, I don't deny that he's a really good coach. I'm not going to deny that.
He's a really good coach.
That's it. Let's calm down with. I mean, honestly, I am not even going to go there with Bill Walsh. Just stop. And you're right. You brought it up because you're right. Let's not compare him to. That's a different league altogether. I mean, honestly, stop. It's just got to stop.
He is 5-0 at home in the playoffs. 5-0 straight up, 4-1 against the spread.
They always win. They always win. They
always win. But here is the number, Scotty, that will be concerning if it ends up that this guy doesn't play or starts the game and doesn't finish. This is this season. Niners, 12-1 straight up, 10-3 ATS when Debo starts and finishes the game. They are 1-4 straight up, 0-5 ATS when he does not. It's a big deal if he's out there or not.
Well, listen, there's no denying he's a brilliant player, and he's also made of glass. He's always injured. So,
always injured.
Look, here's where I come from. I grew up with the steel curtain. And so you got a guy that's good, snap him in two, and that's the end of him. I mean, just snap him in two, and that's the end of him. Intimidation works. No one wants to talk about it. You want to get rid of this guy in this game and win the game? Hit him so hard in the shoulder that his shoulder comes off his body, and that's the end of him. He's done playing.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, Trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Some refer to him as a game manager, Mark. I mean, throwing for over 250 yards in divisional round, 39 attempts. I don't know if that really chalks up to being a game manager. He was kind of throwing it around with 1 touchdown, no interceptions. Pretty efficient.
Whatever we saw from Jared Goff in 2 home playoff games, I would expect something dynamically different from what we're going to see from him on the road. That's just the way it's been his entire career. His home road splits have always been pretty dynamic.
Football Full Circle, only on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network.
Well, look at the Heisman Trophy.
The early line.
And what it all means. Individual success.
You should have tried to get something for Anthony Rendon. Not bought at the deadline.
Newswire.
We're getting a lot of news. Trades, cuts, and some movement in terms of starting quarterbacks,
Ferrall,
backup quarterbacks.
coast to coast.
I want to watch great players make buckets and win games.
Game time decisions.
I have no idea what the heck the Blazers are doing and what they
In-game live.
Just
prime time.
Yard for a grand slam.
The bottom of the 4th inning in a 12-2 baseball game. We got football scores going on at Wrigley right now.
Sports Rage
that was
late
better.
night.
We waited for a 1.5. We got paid.
We did.
Did like the 2.5. Jumped on.
There's no taking weeks off in golf betting ever. These are the best weeks to bet.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Sometimes Carver High and I do Siskel and Ebert in the breaks and choose our viewing platform for possibilities over the weekend or tonight. I gave him a couple of good choices. Giselle Blanco, your girl, the cocaine dealer from Colombia. Pablo Escobar said there's only one man I was afraid of, and it was a woman. End quote. Blanco. She was the devil. That woman. And then also the Ricky Hill story, true story about the minor leaguer, one of the greatest hitters ever in the Expo system. His whole life had the stick, he had the polio. He had he had to wear knee braces and leg braces.
Yeah.
Man, that guy could torch it. Scott Glenn in that movie. Strong effort. Dennis Quaid.
And didn't you say Dennis Quaid's in that movie too? Has anybody been in more sports movies than Dennis Quaid? Like you just say it, is that like The Rookie? Wasn't he in the Warner movie a couple of years ago too? He played Dick Vermeil. He's been in tons of sports movies.
And Scott
your boy
Glenn
Dennis Quaid
is from Pittsburgh, and Scott Glenn was in the Daredevil Marvel series for 3 seasons. Also now Scott Glenn, a great actor, great character actor. In this movie, he's a legendary baseball scout, and in the movie, he looks like he's 112 now. Scott Glenn, not the astronaut, but the actual actor. Carver High and our Siskel and Ebert, 2 thumbs up.
2 thumbs up for that. All right, so it is still flat 7 here. Niners -7. 51.5 is the total. I'm on the Lions, Scotty, plus the 7. And you want to know what? Why not? It's Friday on Coast to Coast. The Lions are going to beat the 49ers on Sunday out in Santa Clara, stonewashed jeans, blah, 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 blah. Big game from Jahmyr Gibbs. Let's go, Scotty. Let's go.
I'm with you. And, they never lose at home. I have my druthers on them winning. I want Detroit to win. I want them to cover the 7. I still think the Niners will luckily win the game but not cover and make it. And I'll say it again. That kid's not beating Lamar or Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl. And everybody, I heard a lot of people say if they rematch with Baltimore that they'll beat Baltimore. No, they won't. Baltimore's better than them. And you know why? Because Lamar Jackson is literally head and shoulders dandruff shampoo above Brock Montana. I mean, here's Lamar, 2-time MVP, and here's Brock down by my satchel. I won't even rank him on the screen. You see my hand? Here's my hand for Lamar, and here's Brock down here by my onions.
Give me Lions-Ravens on Super Bowl in Vegas. Lions and Ravens. Let me get that. That would be like the best. No Chiefs, no Niners.
That would be the best.
2 weeks without them. That would be the best outcome.
I'm with you.
Best outcome. And, they played during the regular season, too. And I got a feeling if they play again, it ain't going to be the same way. If you remember, it was an awful day in Baltimore. The Lions got destroyed like 45-10 or something like that. That won't be the same way, that game. It'll be a more competitive game inside in Vegas for the Lions. Here's the tutties for game number 2. I think Jahmyr Gibbs has a huge game, plus 125 for one. I even play him for a deuce, Scotty. I've seen it at 6-1 for 2 tutties for Jahmyr Gibbs. I think Warren said it to you yesterday, too. That's the guy that the Lions have to get in the mix. I'll take Kittle as the chalk for the Niners at plus 115. Jameson Williams at 4-1 for the Lions. Now, Jawan Jennings I got in there because I think Debo, even if he plays, and he is out at practice, Scotty, I just checked, he's out there running around on the field with the Niners, so that's looking better for him to go. But Jennings is 3-1. He got a lot of burn when Debo was out. And give me Gibbs for the first tutty also. Lions start strong. 9-1 for Gibbs to get in there first.
Well, my problem is that they don't throw to Jameson shots of Williams enough. Everybody loves Jameson, the drink. And then secondly, Jameson Williams, the player. They throw to him twice a game. So they do not throw the ball to him enough to get tutties. I hope he scores, but they throw more to Reynolds. They throw to Ross St. Brown. I would put Ross St. Brown in there. I love the Gibbs. First tutty, I love Gibbs to score at least 1, maybe 2. And, and he throws to his tight ends. They might throw to Ertz. They're definitely throwing to Laporta. So I put them in front of Jameson. They don't throw to him enough. And with all that speed, I think it's a mistake, to be honest with you.
The public betting here for this week. Here we go. The Lions money line is getting 88% of the bets. And that's also, listen, they're the biggest dog this weekend. Everybody wants to bet the big dog. 77% on the over of the Ravens and the Chiefs. I like the under. 72% are on the Lions plus the 7. 65% are on the Chiefs money line at plus 165.
Well, I mean, at least those 2 at the end are at the end. I think the top 2 are ticket rippers. That 88% Lions, I want them to win. They won't win. Everybody will lose their money. The over, everybody's going to bet it. Everybody's going to lose their money. And then I actually think that those last 2, the Lions 7 and the Chiefs on that price is value bet. I think it's a value bet. Your house money with Patrick Mahomes all day long. Remember, that guy, the backdoor Led Zeppelin is all day long. I mean, that guy,
all day long.
He could be down 21 at the half and still win the game. That's how good he is. He'll strike like this, like a rattlesnake or a copperhead in the desert. Whap! And before you even know it, and you're like this. Oh, I got venom in me. Oh.
There you go. Ravens and the Chiefs. You'll be doing more of this, of course, throughout the show. All the title games for Sunday. Davis has some picks, and then the double shot with Adam Kaplan in the final hour of C2C. A few more NFL things for you first. The NFL has got like this contingent of scientists and botanists, Scotty, who are getting together to maintain the grass for Super Bowl 58 in Vegas. When they roll that grass into Allegiant, they got a lot of high-level people making sure, because last year it was awful in Arizona for that Super Bowl. It was a disgrace. So they're going to try to fix that this year.
You know who the guy doing the grass is for the Super Bowl? It's the guy in the M&M's commercial with the tattoos all over his face. And then the guy, the peanut M&M, goes, "What's that on your shoes?"
Actually, I actually found the guy who was doing it. This guy was doing it earlier in the week. They found this guy while he was fixing the grass. This guy's coaching the Titans now, Scotty, believe it or not. Brian Callahan, he was working on the grass out at Allegiant Stadium, and then the Titans plucked him out.
He looks like he's coming off a bender.
He's
coming off a bender.
Brian Callahan, who is the son of Bill Callahan, former Raider coach, Nebraska coach. Here's Brian. He's the new head coach.
He wasn't good
Titans.
either.
The last thing I'll say is that really to the Titans fans, the city of Nashville, and the great state of Tennessee, we're going to need your incredible support. You're a huge part of this. We need Nissan Stadium to be the most feared stadium that people walk into every Sunday.
Good luck with
We need
that.
every possible bit of energy, every last amount of enthusiasm. Our players need to feel the energy. I can't wait to see you guys there. It's going to be a lot of work ahead, but a lot of fun as well. I'm proud. I'm humbled to be standing here before you as the head coach of the Tennessee Titans.
Yeah.
I hope you do better than your dad did.
Well, there you go.
Remember
Young
we
Brian.
had Hackett? Remember Hackett? And his dad was better.
Yeah,
This guy's dad was better, but his dad was awful. So, good luck.
Well, young Brian gets his chance to be the head coach of the Tennessee Titans now.
How do you get rid of
God
Vrabel
bless
for
him.
that, honestly?
He also probably costs like a tenth of what they paid Vrabel. So I guess that probably factors into it as well. New young offensive gurus. Next week will be fun. I guess we'll get all the other press conferences. Harbaugh, Dave Canales, Raheem Morris. We'll have all the press conferences next week during the bye week for all of these new coaches. There you go. I had a Sirianni clip for you, too.
No one
maybe
cares.
we'll try to squeeze it. Nobody cares. You know what it was? It's just him saying, I'm going to be the head coach now. Isn't that what you've been the last 3 years? Now you're going to be the head coach?
And who's the guy that was the Pats receiver that was busted for gambling at LSU?
Kayshawn Booty. Kayshawn Booty.
Everybody loves Booty.
Everybody loves Booty. So he was betting on himself to score tutties at LSU.
That's
He was
even
betting on
better,
himself
my
to
man.
score tutties.
Plus 185.
Big no-no.
Games of the year, Warren, on Sunday night as the Chiefs are now headed back to a 6th championship game. An extremely fun, clean game, and then the hijinks ensue.
And I thought it was just irresponsible for him to take that deep shot into the end zone. I talked a lot about it on X. I thought that they should have hit that underneath route to Diggs. He was wide open. It would have been easily a first down.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
He feels like he's got unfinished business, right? He won the national championship, did what he said he wanted to do, going back to Ann Arbor.
And, he coached, I think, with the Raiders as an assistant, and then got the job with the Niners, and then went to title games, went to Super Bowls, lost to his brother. And I think you're right, unfinished business, go back, try to win a Super Bowl.
Ferrall Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
This will not end well in Milwaukee. They will flame out, there will be problems, and we will see what happens of who's the next domino to go. Does Giannis just sign an extension, ask out after a year? Do they move on from Dame? Or do they start blowing up some of the other guys, Brook Lopez, Bobby Portis, so on and so forth? It'll be worth watching.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network.
We'll look at the Heisman Trophy
The early line.
and what it all means. Individual success.
You should have tried to get something for Anthony Rendon. Not bought at the deadline.
Newswire.
We're getting a lot of news, trades, cuts, and some movement in terms of starting quarterback,
Ferrall,
backup quarterback.
coast to coast.
I want to watch great players make buckets and win games.
Game time
I have
decisions.
no idea what the heck the Blazers are doing and what they
In-game live.
Just
Prime
took 'em
time.
yard for a grand slam.
In the bottom of the fourth inning in a 12-2 baseball game. We got football scores going on at Wrigley right now.
Sports Rage
That was
Late
good betting.
Night.
We waited for 1.5. We got paid.
We did.
Didn't like the 2.5. Jumped on
There's
it.
no taking weeks off in golf betting, ever. These are the best weeks to bet.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. The brighter the lights, the bigger the stakes. Hunt or be hunted. Know your prey. This is a whole new jungle. This is The Lion's Share. Brought to you by BetMGM.
You know, they're getting ready for Big Game 58 at BetMGM. Bet $5 and get $158 instantly with the bonus code SG158. Download the BetMGM Sportsbook app on iOS or Android or visit BetMGM.com. Sign up. Deposit at least $5 into your new account. Bet $5 standard odds price on anything, and you're going to get $158 in bonus bets instantaneously after you make the bet. So you're going to be loving life with the bonus code SG158. Bet $5, get $158. Davis Lee Roth Maddock is with us again. He was branching out today, doing it all, talking soccer, and to show you his mad skills of being able to adapt to the moment. Cold weather, baseball, football, basketball, soccer. They're like, hey, we need you to talk soccer. So Mr. Krupp is leaving Liverpool, calling it a day, said he's tired. What was your reaction to that, the great Liverpool coach?
I mean, look, to me, this is the biggest sports story of the day, honestly. It would be like, you know, the Bill Belichick is coming down to the end, and Brady's still there, and Gronk is still there, and it's about week 10, and they just beat the Miami Dolphins for the 900th time in 10 years, and Belichick comes out to the press conference after, and he says, you know what, guys? Actually, after this, I'm calling it. I'm done. I'm out. It is a huge story. It is going to change the entire complexion of European soccer. I think probably the old Liverpool player, Xabi Alonso, who's coaching in Germany right now, is actually going to end up managing the team next season, which will change the German soccer scene. It's all up in the air, but it was, and we had no hint. We had no idea. This was not even rumored anywhere. It's pretty wild.
Yeah, it's enormous. All right. I got to talk some baseball with you because I still can't believe that really the Boris Four, I think Bellinger, Snell, Montgomery, and the Jays Chapman are still out there. How crazy is that? And what do you think is going to happen? The Snell offer was basically the Yankees and nobody else.
I mean, it feels wild to me that particularly Bellinger is the one who is not signed, because I feel like he can kind of just like write whatever check he wants. And maybe that is the impasse, is Boris and Bellinger are telling these teams, look, your 4-year, $111 million deal, why don't you send that to Franmil Reyes, buddy? I am not interested in signing that contract. I want way more than that. I want to be paid like, basically the best left-handed power hitter in whatever league that I sign in. I think, part of it is definitely these teams just kind of know they do have the free agents over a barrel. The negotiation, the arbitration, all of that has gone so team-friendly the last couple of years that, unless you are truly one of the game's greats, which Cody Bellinger is a good player, but definitely not one of the great players in the league. I mean, even last season with all the home runs, he's still striking out, 35% of the time, kind of has that Aaron Judge, Giancarlo Stanton thing going there. It is kind of crazy, I guess, to say about a former league MVP that he's not one of the greatest players in the game. He's a different player now than he was 5 years ago. I don't really get it, though. I think all of this stuff, Scotty, is just such baseball shooting itself in the foot, because everyone was so enamored with the Ohtani stuff, right? Even people I know who don't really care that much about baseball. They're not that locked into it. They cared about where Ohtani was going. They cared about all those signings that the Dodgers were making. They were tweeting about Yamamoto. And I feel like if baseball did a better job at really getting all the transactions done in like a 2-week period, they could dominate that 2-week period. And I don't really know why that isn't what they do.
How about Jock Peterson? Think about him. He got a lot of money from Arizona, and I think his stat line was 235, 348, 416. And the year before, when he was an all-star starter, he was 274, 353, 521. And that included 17 first half of season home runs. He dropped off last year like nobody's business, but still gets a bag. I mean, they gave him $9.5 million, $3 million buyout, 14 mutual option for the next year, 14 mil on top of that. I mean, nothing like getting rewarded with tons of money when you can't hit anymore. I mean, one year he was amazing, and last year he stunk.
And he will probably get an opportunity to get paid even more money. It actually will be a Bellinger-style deal where if he plays well for the Diamondbacks, guess what? He's right back. He's right back in the great. I actually think this was a good deal for the Arizona Diamondbacks. I think this was smart. You know, you take the calculated risk with him, and maybe you end up giving him more money. Maybe you don't. For example, going back to the Bellinger thing, I think the Cubs are such morons. I just would never run a team the way they run their team. But the 1-year deal for Bellinger never made any sense. Like, you're the Cubs, you print money, you own your own TV station. Like, it's such a laughable idea to not try and spend money if you're the Cubs. Why did they not give Bellinger a 3-year deal? I mean, it really is insane. They could have had so much surplus production from him, and now instead, there's no chance this guy ends up being a Cub.
So what did you think of the Hoskins deal with the Brewers? He missed all of last season with the knee surgery. Do you think he can turn it on again?
I mean, he's the type of guy that I would like to buy on, you know, just a power hitter with like a pretty long track record. And in general, you would probably think that the teams that are after him are the smarter teams. But again, anytime that clock ticks over, you know, anytime that odometer goes from 29 to 30, you start to get a little bit worried about a guy. He's going to turn 31 actually in this season. So maybe, I don't know, maybe he is a guy that we kind of forget about.
Lastly, Robertson gets a deal with Texas, the champs, but he's old, 39. And do you think he still has it? Because I don't.
No, that feels like a guy that basically ends up on the IL list by like June 3rd, and we like kind of forget that he exists. I don't know. Maybe he ends up throwing some innings for them in the postseason, but doesn't feel like one of the bigger impact signings of the offseason.
All right, let's look at your picks for tonight, and we'll start in the NBA. First of all, you're betting on the Houston-Charlotte game at the Buzz Nest or whatever they call it.
I am, and I do not bet on the Houston Rockets all that often. It kind of has to be a special spot for me to do it. I think that this qualifies as a special spot. The Charlotte Hornets, man, they traded away really their only quality player that was playing on the roster. You know, LaMelo has basically been out all year. Gordon Hayward's basically been out all year. No Terry Rozier. They're young. They're inexperienced. They're bad. They're basically the same as the Rockets last year. The Rockets are not a good team, but they are a competent veteran team.
They're better.
Just like a classic. Yeah, they are a better team. So just kind of your classic veteran team takes care of a crappy team on a road Friday night. We are taking the Houston Rockets tonight.
And what about the Blazers and Spurs off the Riverwalk in San Antonio? Are you rolling Wemby or are you going Blazers? Whoa, what do we got here?
Yeah, man, I'm rolling Wemby. They got absolutely rolled by Oklahoma City. No shame in that. Lots of teams are going to get absolutely rolled by Oklahoma City. They did get a win last week against the Wizards. They also beat the Hornets not that long ago, and they beat the Pistons. You might see a little bit of a trend there, which is that even though they're probably a bottom 5 talent team in the NBA, maybe the least talented team outside of Wembanyama. I mean, some of these guys who are getting rotation minutes for them are going to be like, you know, G leaguers by I don't know, by next Christmas. But Wemby is really that good. He honestly really is that good. I'm taking the Spurs tonight. Shaedon Sharpe is out for the Blazers. DeAndre Ayton literally cannot play. It's kind of embarrassing that this was a guy people were so excited about in the finals not that long ago. I'm taking the Spurs against the Blazers.
What about in the AFC title game at the Bank in the Charm City on Sunday at 3:00?
Yeah, all right. I am taking my Kansas City Chiefs. Now, am I taking the Kansas City Chiefs because I think that this is the smartest, most analytically dialed in bet of all time? Not really. I think probably 1 through 53, the Ravens do have a better roster. I think the Chiefs have they have the best defense that Mahomes has ever had. But really, it just comes down to one sentence, which is Mahomes getting points. I mean, Mahomes getting points in his career.
That's right.
He's got a winning record. This guy has a winning record getting points. I mean, it's as simple as that.
I mean, dude, this guy's such a badass. People are like, oh, Baltimore's so much better. No, they're
He's
not.
the best,
Who's
man.
been to
He's
6
the best.
straight title games? Patrick Mahomes. That's what it's about. That guy with 4, it's up to 4 now. It's insanity. Watch Baltimore covers, but I'm with you on that bet. And what about the NFC title game in Santa Clara with the Lions and Niners? What are you doing there?
Yeah, this one is a gold star lock, man. The 49ers, I think, are going to end the happy story for the Detroit Lions. I think you can even bet alternate. I think you could bet alternate total minus 14.5 points here for the 49ers. Not saying that's the most likely thing, but I think the 49ers just take care of business here and send the Lions home packing. I think this is a really good 49ers team.
Did you just say to me they cover 14 too?
I said you could bet the alt spread minus 14.5.
If you like losing money, if you like losing money, make that bet. Honestly, if they blow them out, I'll keel over. Listen, I'm with you on the Chiefs. I don't think you can give that guy points. Have a great weekend. Enjoy it. We'll see you Monday.
The Lion's Share, presented by BetMGM.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Some refer to him as a game manager, Mark. I mean, throwing for over 250 yards in divisional round, 39 attempts. I don't know if that really chalks up to being a game manager. He was kind of throwing it around with 1 touchdown, no interceptions. Pretty efficient.
Whatever we saw from Jared Goff in 2 home playoff games, I would expect something dynamically different from what we're going to see from him on the road. That's just the way it's been his entire career. His home-road splits have always been pretty dynamic.
Football Full Circle, only on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network.
will look at the Heisman
The
Trophy
early
race
line.
and what it all means. Individual success.
You should have tried to get something for Anthony Rendon, not bought at the deadline.
Newswire.
We're getting a lot of news, trades, cuts, and some movement in terms of starting quarterbacks,
Ferrall
backup quarterbacks.
coast to coast.
I want to watch great players make buckets and win games.
Game time
You
decisions.
have no idea what the heck the Blazers are doing and what they
In game live.
Just
Prime
took 'em
time.
yard for a grand slam.
The bottom of the fourth inning in a 12-2 baseball game. We got football scores going on at Wrigley right now.
Sports Rage
That was
Late
good betting.
Night.
We waited for 1.5. We got paid
We
for
did.
information. Didn't like the 2.5. Jumped on
There's
it.
no taking weeks off in golf betting ever. These are the best weeks to bet.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
So, Carver High, last night, I think that we were doing a show. I think the Dubs were getting more than one when it pushed with the Kings at 134, 133. Barnes had a huge game. Herter had a huge game. Sabonis, 13 dimes. And the dunk that won it, Curry had 33. But I think he turned it over in the last second. But we hit that bet. I think we were getting like 2.5 when we did the show, unless I'm tripping, because
2.5.
2.5.
2.5.
It went off at 1 and it pushed, but we hit it on the show.
2.5 it was when we were on yesterday afternoon. It did get down, obviously, a lot closer when they tipped the game off at night. You mentioned it. Sabonis had a dunk with about 20 seconds left that gave the Kings that 1-point lead. Warriors with a chance to win it, Scotty. Steph Curry with the rock. Didn't go very well. NBC Sports Bay Area.
They don't take a timeout. Final 10 seconds. Kuminga at 7. Steph at 4. Curry's got nowhere to go. They don't even get the shot off. And Sacramento wins by 1.
Jesus, get those guys a drink. They sound depressed.
They don't even get the shot off.
There's nothing I hate worse. I go to my daughter's games and they don't get the shot off. And one game I went to a tournament game and after 3 they were down like 30 and I walked out at the start of the fourth quarter and she looked at me. I was like, you guys can't even get a shot off. I'm not sitting here for another quarter of this.
Couldn't even get a shot off. Amazing. Wild game, though. Over 43 pointers hitting that game between both teams with the Kings and the Warriors. Crazy night. We thought yesterday that the Nuggets were ready to go home to Denver. They've been on a long, almost 2-week-long road trip. It was their final stop before heading home. And, boy, they sure acted like it. 122 to 84. They got blown out at the Garden. Jalen Brunson, who didn't even play the last quarter and a half, to steal in the dunk on MSG.
Team, they don't rely a lot on the 3-ball. Knicks force a turnover. Here's Brunson ahead of the field. And this is the biggest deficit the Nuggets have faced all season.
I'll tell you what, Anunoby played his ass off, 26 last night. The Knicks looked great at the Garden. That was easy money. Denver was shot.
They were shot. And actually, Scotty, I saw some photos of Tom Thibodeau afterwards. He was actually smiling after the game,
miracle.
which you'd never see out of Tibbs. So, and what have the Knicks won now, Scotty? 6 in a row, 7 in a row? Knicks have been playing great since that Anunoby trade. They have been outstanding.
All they do is win now, and they got
all they do
defense.
is win. And they're beating everybody's ass every single night that they get out there. They've been great. Celtics beat the Heat 143 to 110. Heat have been slumping bad. Pacers beat the Sixers.
We got that right, too. The blowout of Boston. We said that not only would they win, that they would blow them out because the Heat have been playing terrible. Even they went out and got Scary Terry. Didn't matter. Just step aside, son. They kicked their ass.
They sure did. Pacers beat the Sixers 134-122. That honestly wasn't even that close either. Pacers were beating their ass the entire night. Lakers beat the Bulls.
The triple-double.
Yes, Siakam had a really good game for Indiana. Lakers beat the Bulls 141-132. LeBron back out there, led him to the victory. Of course, Scotty, before the game and last night, they announced the starters for the All-Star game coming up in a few weeks in Indiana. And for the 20th time, LeBron James going to the All-Star game. Here he is telling you about it afterwards.
I've exceeded expectations of my career, so it's just humbling. It's very cool to be able to continue to have accomplishments throughout your career, but I've exceeded anything further than what I ever dreamed about that I would be in the NBA. So, and I did that a long time ago. So, everything else is kind of just like extra credit. I'm very humbled by still being able to play the game that I love and have these accomplishments along the way.
Who's the Mafia? Who's that boxer I hate that I can't stand? The guy he used to call himself Billions. What's the guy's name? Okay, so remember when Adrian Broner said to me at the press conference in Vegas, "Just for men, son." That's what LeBron needs. Just for men, son. He said, "It was good meeting you. Just for men, son." That's what he said to me when I was leaving. I was like, "Oh my God, I need to get some tighten that up. Just for men."
Wow. Unbelievable. So there you go. Here's the rest of those West starters who are going to be there along with LeBron at the All-Star game. The Joker will be there. SGA will be there. Kevin Durant will be there. And Luka
None of them want to be there.
will be there with him. Well, none of them want to be there. You're right about that. And, of course, they're going to say the nice thing, which is it's always an honor. You never get tired of this. You get tired of it when you never get to take that 4 or 5 day siesta down at the Cayman Islands. You never get those trips.
It's the worst. It's
like
the
bench
worst thing
guys
ever.
do. The bench guys get to go hang out in the Cayman Islands for a couple days. Well, you guys are all in. And this is the other thing that we always can't stand, these All-Star games. If you're going to make the guys give us somewhere good. Have it in Vegas every year, L.A., Miami. They're sending them to Indiana in the middle of February. That's a tough scene.
You're
Send
right.
them to Indiana. At least
great.
get them excited about it. Give us a nice locale for them to go to. The one other game I didn't get you to, and then I'll give you the
Carver,
East.
high timeout.
Yes,
You know what
timeout.
Indiana's
You got
like
one.
in the in February? There was the movie with James Blake back in the black and white days, In Cold Blood, where they went into the farmhouse and killed the family. And in cold blood. When you're driving in Indiana in February, you look out and just picture gray, miserable, and James Blake breaking into your house and killing your family in cold blood. Welcome to the All-Star festivities in cold blood.
The Pacers will have one of their guys in the starting lineup. Tyrese Halliburton made it for them. Embiid, Giannis,
Are we still
Tatum,
talking about this? Are
and
we
Dame
really?
Time, the other guys. They'll announce the reserves next week, Thursday the 1st.
What's next? You're going to show me the jerseys?
No, I haven't gotten a look at those. It's been a bad day for jerseys, especially if you're an Islander, Ranger, Devil, or Flyer fan for that outdoor game. One other game I actually didn't get on the list there that I forgot about. The T-Wolves didn't cover against the Nets. 96-94, the T-Wolves beat the Nets.
That was the one we got
in
wrong.
Brooklyn. Yeah, they did a pretty bad job with that one, that's for sure. All right, so there you go. Last night in the NBA. Why don't we get going tonight? And we will start in Atlanta, where crybaby Luka gets back to work, Scotty. The Mavericks are coming to town to face off the Hawks. The Mavs minus 1.5, 244.5 is the total in this one.
Yeah, well, I just watched them get whacked and cry the whole night and get fans ejected and get rubbed out. I think they'll lose again tonight to DeJounte and the Hawks in Hot Town.
Young has missed the last couple of games for the Hawks. He's questionable for tonight, Scotty. So he's been out with the concussion. No Kyrie for the Mavs. He is not in the lineup tonight for them. So it'll be a Luka-only effort for Dallas because they are thin when it's just – when Kyrie's not out there, that is a thin team. When you look at that box score and look at who rolls out there with
crybaby
Luka.
whiny B's not going to try either on the road. He wants a burger and a beer.
Get on the treadmill. You're looking a little slow. Houston is in Charlotte. He's never going to live that down, by the way. You're going to hear that forever, that treadmill line that he threw the guy out of the game for. Houston is in Charlotte tonight against the Hornets. Rockets minus 5.5, 223.5 is our total in this one.
Yeah, I think Davis is right here. They cleaned out this Hornets team. They got nothing. So unless Melo has a triple-double and lights it up with Bridges, they're going to lose this game to the Rockets.
Good one tonight in Indiana. We were talking about the Pacers. They have the Suns coming in. These two played a pretty good one out in Phoenix, Scotty. What was that, about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago? They played a pretty good game. Now they return the favor. Suns -4.5, 243.5 the total. No Halliburton again for Indiana. Looks like everybody that matters is playing for the Suns. Booker, Beal, and Durant.
Well, they've won 7 in a row. They're on fire, but that's a tough place to play, even without Halliburton, with Siakam having triple-doubles. I'll take the 4.5, 5 points.
The Clippers head east for a road trip, Scotty. They are in Toronto against the Raptors, so you get Kawhi back in Toronto. Paul George questionable for the Clips. Toronto will not have Quickly tonight. He is out. Clippers -7.5, 235.5 the total.
Yeah, I just think the Clippers finish them off and handle their business. I think they're 10 points better than Toronto. Without Quickly, I mean, Scotty Barnes is going to have to light it up. I mean, that's a big number. It's risky, but I like the Clippers.
I like the Clippers as well in that one. Toronto has not played good. They're down to 16-28 now, not having a good year. Orlando is in Memphis against the Grizzlies. Remember when the Magic had like the best record in the league, Scotty, after like 20 games? Remember when they were like 15-5? Man, that was a long time ago. Magic -5.5, 212.5 is the total.
I mean, Orlando should beat them, but I think I'll take the points. This Memphis team, since they lost Ja, they've been covering and winning. And when you least expect it. And they're at home. Give me the 6 with Jackson and company to be involved against Orlando, who has leveled off.
They certainly have. Cleveland got the gift of having to stay in Milwaukee the last couple of nights. This is the third time the Cavs and the Bucks have gotten together in the last week and a half. Bucks -5.5, 238.5 is the total. I did see, Scotty, that Doc not out there yet tonight. They're still having the interim guy coach the team. So no Doc yet on the sideline. At least that was a report I saw about an hour ago for Milwaukee.
Yeah, they beat them the other night and covered. And, I'm willing to take another stab at the Cavs tonight with the 5.5.
I'm willing to take another stab with them as well. I think the game of the night's actually down on Bourbon Street. The Thunder and the Pelicans in Nolens. We have the Thunder right now, Scotty, -1.5. 238.5 is the total. Zion questionable with the foot. When is he not, to be quite honest with you? But this has flipped to the Thunder now being 1.5-point favorites.
The Thunder never lose.
That's pretty. They really don't. It's amazing that they've been so good.
Win.
31-13 now. I think they're going to win as
easily.
well.
Easily.
Yeah, I'm with you. Over as well. These Thunder games, we've been hitting the overs on them. They've been flying through. They score a ton of points. So I'm willing to go there as well. The Portland Trailblazers are in San Antonio tonight. Friends and family only on the Riverwalk. 3.5 for the Spurs. That's how you know you're bad, when you're catching 3.5 points from the Spurs. That says it all for the Portland Trailblazers. 229.5 is the total.
Well, look, I think the kid Wemby's awesome, and I think the Spurs absolutely are hairdryer city. I don't care how good he is. I still think the Blazers are better than the Spurs, and I'll take the 3.5, and they'll win the game outright in San Antonio.
There you go. The night in the NBA to get ourselves going here tonight. We got through it all. All right, we have a lot more to do, Scotty. We'll finish off the hour, and then we have college basketball tonight. We have hockey tonight. I want to tell you how last night I decided, before I put the head on the pillow, to try and back the Joker when he was losing to that guy out in Australia. And I woke up this morning and Sony got his ass beat.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Some refer to him as a game manager, Mark. I mean, throwing for over 250 yards in divisional round, 39 attempts. I don't know if that really chalks up to being a game manager. He was kind of throwing it around with 1 touchdown, no interceptions. Pretty efficient.
Whatever we saw from Jared Goff in 2 home playoff games, I would expect something dynamically different from what we're going to see from him on the road. That's just the way it's been his entire career. His home road splits have always been pretty dynamic.
Football Full Circle, only on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network.
We'll look at the Heisman Trophy
The early line.
and what it all means. Individual success.
You should have tried to get something for Anthony Rendon. Not bought at the deadline.
Newswire.
We're getting a lot of news, trades, cuts, and some movement in terms of starting quarterbacks,
Ferrall
backup quarterbacks.
coast to coast.
I want to watch great players make buckets and win games.
Game time
You
decisions.
have no idea what the heck the Blazers are doing and what they
In-game live.
Just
Prime
took 'em
time.
yard for a grand slam.
The bottom of the 4th inning in a 12-2 baseball game. We got football scores going on at Wrigley right now.
Sports Rage
That was
Late
competitive.
Night.
We waited for 1.5. We got paid.
We did.
Patient, didn't like the 2.5. Jumped on
There's
it.
no taking weeks off in golf betting ever. These are the best weeks to bet.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
The thing I don't understand, Carver High, is that Klopp is leaving, but they're on top of the table in the Premier League. It's always Man City, but a couple years ago it was Liverpool, and they're back on top, and they're kicking ass and taking names. And this guy quits. He's going to call it a day.
Yeah, he's done. That's going to be it for him after this year. He's been there since 2015. He's done. He brought them back to glory. They were waiting a long time in Liverpool for somebody to show up and get them back to winning ways. Got them a Premier League title. Got them a Champions League title. So got him FA Cups. You can say that he ain't leaving them empty-handed. That's for sure. These guys never last forever, Scotty, anymore. Especially, there's no more Sir Alex Fergusons in the soccer world. Some guy was going to stay at one place
You got
for
that
40
right.
years.
Look at them
that
now,
just
the
doesn't
Red
go on.
Devils.
And I think that he's going to take a year off. He's been very clear this morning. I mean, they've asked him 1,000 times. He's like, nothing's changed in my mind. He says he's never going to coach anyone in the Premier League ever again, never English football. He'll never come back there. I think eventually he's probably going to do something national team-wise, whether that's the German national team, of course, where he's from, or someone. I think his next goal is probably to win those titles on the international level and not in club football anymore.
That German guy that coaches that World Cup team, is he shot yet? Because I'd rather have Klopp than him.
When Klopp becomes available, whoever it is, Klopp's better. So whoever that guy is that's got that
Remember
job
the guy
right now,
with the bologna slices, the German?
he got about a year. He got about a year and a half. And if he don't have that team where they're supposed to be, he's going to get chopped. And they're going to put Klopp in. But that it was, like David said to you before, an absolute out of nowhere thing that happened this morning over in English football. That's wild that he's just walking away. Done.
Yeah, like I could care less, and I still almost wrecked my car. I was like, I'm driving. I go, clap, quit. I veered off the road, hit the sidewall on the side of the road.